Welcome to the Empower Your Career conference. I'm Ritika Agarwal, and today I'll be talking about PowerApps Portals and how you can get started with it, build your first portal, do some configuration, and like what cool things you can do with your PowerApps portal. A little bit about myself. I work as a cloud specialist at Applied Info Service India Private Limited, and you can connect to me on Twitter. This is my Twitter handle and my email address. Also, I have recently started blogging about what I have learned about the platform. So this is my blog website. If you want to explore, you can get latest updates about anything I'm posting, and if that helps you, it would be really great for me. So moving forward, session objective is first we'll see how we can get started with the portals, what are its capabilities, and how it can help us dealing with our business problems and all. And after that, we'll build a portal application from scratch. And then, as part of demo, I'll be demoing a few role-based access and pages, those kind of demos. I'll talk that about that in a minute. So, so let's talk about PowerApps Portals first. What PowerApps Portals is? So it's a capability provided by Microsoft where we can create custom websites. Those are accessible to the world, and you can create this application across devices. As you can see in the picture, it can be configured for a mobile device or a laptop or a tablet screen. So you can customize a lot of things in this application, and here are a few capabilities of what Power Apps Portals can do. First, it's an external facing website. So with that, what I mean is you can create a URL and that can be shared across the world where people can access it until you have like applied any kind of IP restrictions. Apart from that, you can also configure your CRUD operations to your data in CDS. So let's say if I have some entities in my CDS database and I want to show some, let's say some information about my requests or something, I can configure that, and similarly, all the operations can be performed. I can read the data, I can update the data, I can delete it, or else I can create it. So moving forward, since we are showing this data in CDS, so many people, we are concerned about security. We don't want the people who don't have access to data. We only want to show relevant data to the users. There we can set the entity permissions and we can select granular levels of permissions like read, write, update, and delete. So with that, you can set the permissions and only relevant data will be displayed to the users. Anonymous access is like you can configure your web pages in a way where you do not need to log in into the account and see all the information. There can be pages defined for anonymous users. You just need to browse to the URL. The URL goes something like unique name, whatever you give your application, let's say demo portal.powerappsportals.com. And with that URL, if you have like shared it across the world, you can access it. Then we have reusable templates. With that, it's like you can create code snippets which can be used at multiple places or multiple pages across your application. The benefit of doing that is if you want to make a change, it can only be done at a single place, and the same will be reflected across all pages or wherever you have referenced that web template. Also, like apart from using the out of the box controls, you can also create your custom code using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. All these capabilities you can integrate into your web pages and create a beautiful UI and working capabilities for the users. And coming to our next topic, it's liquid programming language. So what it does is, if we are getting data from views or something, we have to define it beforehand into our solutions or our entities. But with liquid programming languages, you can write custom snippets where you can perform all kind of filters and everything, so that you are actually getting what you are based on the user or something. So with that, it returns dynamic data, which you can use to build out your charts, tables, anything. So it's basically about constructing a specific template language and using that in your web pages to design the visuals or show some kind of data to the users. So to learn more about the liquid programming, here is a reference. This is a Microsoft document where they have mentioned about how you can use this liquid objects and how they can be you can say they can be used to build out a capability. Questions until this point? Okay, I think we're good. So let's see some of this in action, and we in this part we'll be doing some demos where I'll show how you can change the footer with some custom code and show it on your applications. Then I'll build out a functionality where you will be fetching the data from your CDS entity, displaying it as a list, and then the user can select records out of it. And finally, on a different page, you can see the details about the selected record. Next, show and hide page based on authentication. It is like we'll be designing multiple pages as part of our application, but there is a page which I only want the users to see if they are authenticated. If they are not authenticated, then just hide the page. So this is our third demo. Last one is like how you can embed custom JavaScript code into your web pages and do a lot of things. So I'll show a demo where I will be hiding a few checkboxes using the JavaScript code. So let's get into the demos. So for creating a portal, first you have to go to make.powerapps.com. Make sure you have selected the correct environment, and then you can go into the apps and then select new app and then portal. So if I do that, so I mean, since I have already created a portal for this demo, it is not allowing me to create another one. You have reached the maximum limit of one portal on this environment. That is why I cannot create another portal. But the process of doing it is like we have to give this portal a name, and this is the URL that will be accessible. So it has a validation checker in the backend where it only allows unique addresses. So if let's say I have taken demoportal.powerappsportal.com. So if I'm creating a new one, I cannot take that URL. And similarly, if I'll click create, it is going to start the provision of the portal application. A point worth noting here is if you're creating a portal for the first time, it may take up to 20 to 30 minutes. The reason behind that is the portal configuration, it requires a number of entities in the backend. So for that, what it does is it imports all the solution with the ADX publisher. And when they are imported, only then you'll be able to see this portal as provision. And once you do that, so here are two different applications, My Portal and Portal Management. My Portal is my portal application, but this portal management application is created. So this is a place where you can integrate or you can update all of the things that will be displayed on the portal. You can configure websites, page templates, or your website bindings, content snippets, forms in list for from the entities and things like that. But here with this portal, it is actually going to be what your URL, something, whatever you have entered, demo pp.powerappsportal.com. If I would go to the solution just to show you like how the solutions are getting created here. So as you can see here, there are so many different solutions, Dynamics 365 portals. So all these are created first, and then a portal application will be able to, work properly. So let's open this one first, PowerApps Portals. So here, the basic mechanism behind the portal applications is you can create multiple websites, but whenever you're creating a portal application, there is a website binding. So since I have created this demo portal pp.powerappsportals.com, so as you can see here in the binding, I have assigned it to website starter portal. But if you have like migrated a different website from one of your other tenants, you can come here into the website bindings, change this website from started portal to, let's say, my application. And after like 5 or 10 minutes, when you clear the cache, the starter portal application will no longer be accessible in this, and you will be able to see the new imported application. Apart from that, we'll come back to these one later. Here you have a contacts record entity. So whenever I'm logging in to a portal, it creates a contact record for me. Since I have already used this Ritika at the rate mppyaco.on Microsoft, I can I have appropriate access. But let's say this is my portal. Whenever you create a portal, it is displayed like this. It is a default template, and you can go in and customize each and every component of this one. So let's see the contacts part first. Let's say I just do a sign out here. Then I try to sign in again. And instead of authenticating it with my Azure AD account, sorry, I didn't check the chat. What was your question, please? Sorry, Prashant. Yeah.
Hi, Ritika.
Okay, yeah, hi, Prashant. Tell me.
I just wanted to know because in one of your slides you said show data from CDAs, knowing the fact that Dynamics 365 CE or whatever it is, as well as FinOps, it all goes to CDAs. Is there any
Mhm.
other option to show data from? Like, is there any other data source? It's
Um, Not right now, but if you want, you can create some kind of data flows or something for showing that data. Or if not, another option is using some, so we can embed custom HTML codes. I have not tried using any other data source, but with custom HTML and JavaScript code, maybe you can create a connection to other data source. But again, about the security, I'm not sure.
okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so now coming back to this. So let's say I use my account. So just now I registered a new account here. Okay, so now I am logged in, but if I'll go here, contacts and all contacts. So now I can see there is a Agarwal Ritika 08 at the gmail.com account created. So the significance of creating these accounts is you can assign different web roles to each of those. So if I check now, this user does not have any of the roles. But if I have a page that is only accessible by authenticated users, let's say, the authenticated users is a web role. If I go here, I can assign a different kind of web roles and the user can move forward accordingly in my application. So for signing up again, there are different ways you can do that. Either you can give your Azure AD authentication credentials, or you can register like how I did 2 minutes ago. And then you can also send the invitations where the person can come and redeem their invitation code and they can register. Okay, so moving forward, let's open this application in the edit mode. One other thing is like I logged in with my Azure AD account here. So I can see this, you can say this box or something where I can select multiple options. That is because I am the system administrator for this application. If a normal user logs in, they cannot do all these kinds of modifications to the portal application. So here is like we have this home page and a lot of different things here. But let's say let's do the footer part first. Okay, for doing that, I can go into web templates. So this can be done on the portal management app. And then we have a web template for footer. I have already added a custom code I have taken from CodePen. So it is like if I go here, it is like displaying a header for me, and we can show some nice configuration with a few lines of HTML and CSS code. So let's say I make some changes to this one. Mm. Okay, so I just added a simple text here instead of this whole line, and I save it. To refresh the content on a portal application, so what you can do is take the URL for your application, navigate to underscore services and slash about. So only system administrators are allowed to log into this page. If anyone else like try to browse this URL, the page will not be displayed and they'll just see this heading, portals. So since I am the system administrator, I can clear the cache. And if I just refresh this, so now you can see with just a single update on the footer code, I can see this PowerApps portal text here. And if this web template is used at multiple pages, the same changes will be reflected just after we clear the cache from this URL. Okay, so next let's move on to see how we can get some data from our CDS entities. So let me open my CDS entity first. Just a second. So what we will be doing here is we'll create a reference to the list and the form. So basically a reference to a view and a form where I can fetch the details from this entity and render the form so that I can see the details about a selected record. So this is my entity and I have like defined a few fields inside of it. I have certain data, some test sample data inside here. So if I go back to this edit mode, I can come here and create pages. So let's say I want to create a child page to my home page. So now it is like loading that page in preview. You can select the template, whatever you want to. There are multiple templates defined already, but if you want to create one of yours, you can go into the portal management app and create one for yours. Let's say for this time, we'll go with page with title. And one other thing is like whenever you are making changes as part of this editor, so if I selected this template and changed it, I should wait until this preview is complete. Otherwise, if I'm going to write something here, it's just going to erase it and revert it back to the previous value. So let's say demo show requests. This is my page name and okay, so it is going to go now because I have like updated it before the preview was loaded. So yeah, just here. Now demo requests. Okay, I updated it. And now I want a different page so that I can show the details. Okay. Yeah, sure. Please unmute.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I just wanted to know, so you went back to PowerApps model-driven app and you changed the footer text value there instead of
Mhm.
changing it here where you right now in the maker experience. So is there a reason?
The reason is we cannot do it directly from here. So as you can see, I'm getting this edit option here directly. But if I select the footer, I want this
Okay.
change to be reflected at all the places. For doing
Okay.
that, it needs to be updated at the template level. Otherwise, if you have any other things that are part, let's say this grow your business text, I can just go
Mm.
into this editor and I can change that code. Something
So for
like
footer, it's not valid here.
yes, it's not valid. So,
Okay.
because here we are rendering a web template. Otherwise, it's not going to be same at all the places. So like Don't.
Okay, that's good to know. There was one more question. When you entered a new URL
Mhm.
to refresh the cache or something like that, cannot we do it from here where there's a button on the top right called Sync Configurations?
So sync configuration is like whenever I have made some changes, but it is not updated to the application. This is like an edit mode. But if I want to sync the configuration between what is running there and what
Mm,
I have made changes here, then I can select this option for sync configuration. And the other button, browse website, is like if I have made any changes, I can go in and browse website. It will open a new tab for me.
yeah. So basically, sync configuration is not the cache refresh.
No, no, not cache refresh. For doing that, you have to go here only, and you have three different options: clear cache, clear config, and rebuild search index. So each of these has like individual importance. But if you are just concerned about clearing out your changes and showing the recent data, go with clear cache, and it would be like it will be a temporary slowness, but the application will be displaying the most current version of data.
Cool. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, so let's go back here. And now I'm going to create a sub page to this page where I'll be displaying the details about the selected request. So here what we are trying to do is I have a entity which stores multiple user requests, and so on this portal we'll be displaying those requests and the details about them. So let's add a child page. Okay, so a new page is added here. Now let's say we name this demo view requests. Let it load first. And one thing worth noticing here is since this new page is a child page of the first one, the template is automatically updated. But if you are creating a child page for home, let's say, it is going to refer the default template. So let's view this view demo request. Okay. So this is like the configuration we did for initial creation of pages. Now let's go and create references to our entity. So for doing that, now let's go to entity lists first, and I can create a new record. So let's say I name this demo request view. I can come here and select the entity. So it would be requests. Website. So since we are working on starter portal website, we have to select it from here. Then I can add a view like I only want to see the active requests. And if you have any custom views, they will be displayed as part of this drop down and you can select it. Now, let's say I just save this. And now if I go to forms, I can create a new form like demo view request entity again, the same one. Um, I'm sorry, requests. And the form would be since I was using a different form for portals, I have created this main form. So let's select that. And there was a single tab, so I am not getting any option for selecting the tab name. And the mode would be read only. And so for showing a details form, we need to pass some reference of the record that is going to be displayed. So in this case, we'll be passing the GUID as query string and ID. So ID would be the parameter that will be passed in this URL, and that is how it is going to recognize which record it should be displaying. Now let's select starter portal. The last option is for enabling the entity permission, but let's come back to this later. For now, we'll just show some records and then assign some security roles to enable these permissions. Let's save it. So I now have my list and form both in place. So now let's go back here. We need to refresh this portal configuration first once. because otherwise it is not going to recognize the newly created these entity forms. So I just did that. Okay, we are back. So now I can go into the demo show requests. I will delete this text from here. I can select this column, go to components here. So we can add different kind of controls here. One column section, two column section, and all these different configurations as well, like text, image, iframes. Using iframes, you can embed your Power Virtual Agents into the application. And with the forms in list, you'll be able to display whatever we just configured. Let me check this chat real quick. Can we have users upload files and track their tasks? So yes, for doing that, you can add timeline to your forms. Once you do that, there is a, so let's say I have configured this form demo view request, and I have a subgrid or let's say timeline as part of it. You need to create an entity form metadata. Here, if I go and select this new record, so I can select the type if it's an attribute, node, subgrid. So again on the permission basis, if you create some permission, like the user can only you can say upload the documents and not edit the existing ones, those can be set. But to render that on a page, you have to create a new metadata, new entity form metadata. Does that answer your question, Neeraj? Okay, sure. Let's move forward. So here I am, and I'm going to add a list to this page. So I'll select this list. And since we have already created this reference to my view, I can select it demo requests view. It is automatically going to like recognize which entity was it and what view was selected as default. I can come here and change it anytime. And I don't want to edit or create new records here or delete anything. I just want to view the details. So let's enable this view details option here. Then I can select a target type. So if it's a form, then it kinds of display a pop-up on the screen and user can see the details. But in this case, we want to display it on a different page. So that is how we can see how the IDs passed across pages. Then it gives me an option to show, select the web page. So it will be displayed on demo view requests. Now there is another setting here. I can enable search if I have multiple records and I want to make it easier for the user so that they can search and select some records here. I can enable this feature here. And now let's go back to our child page. Okay, it's taking some time to load, but I think we can edit it here. I just deleted the text here, and I'm going to add a component for showing the form. The same processor here goes like I am using an existing resource like demo view request, the record we just created. Then I have to select a form layout. I'm selecting the main form, and it would be a read-only thing. And also you can add the features to show capture for anonymous or authenticated users and this enable entity permissions. I'll be back to it like in 5 minutes or so. Okay, so now what I'll just save this and browse my website. Okay, so this is because I am on the second layer of this page view demo request, but there is no ID. So it is giving me this error like the record you are looking for couldn't be found. So let's do one thing because this page is accessible from here as well, like demo view request. So we can hide those pages from our edit mode like this, hide in the default menu. And now, as you can see, the drop down is gone, and I just have a single reference to the page I want to select. I have reopened it, and this time let's go directly to demo requests. Okay, so the drop down is gone, and I can only select the main page. So with this, if I want to compare, I have two records here, and all those two records can be displayed in at this place. If I'm going to select one of those, okay, I think that is not configured properly. Let's go back here. Okay, the view details was not saved. So better do it like a bit slow so that all your changes are working fine. So I just selected this web page and you demo view requests page. Now I can come here and save it. Another option of adding a custom code here is in this code editor. Since I have added a form, it is showing me this liquid template, like how is it referencing that. But if you want, you can add your custom code here and the same will be displayed on the pages. So now let's browse website again. So yeah, now we got the links as hyperlinks and we can open them into new tabs. So let's say if I go in to see the details about this request, I can come here and if I observe the URL, it is like I am on the view demo request page and the record identifier for this record has been passed and I'm seeing that detail form which I just configured. So with like a few, you can say few configuration, you can show the data on your pages and navigate through them directly. Also, there are few other configurations you can set like on the entity lists. Let's say my demo requests. We have all these options for filter conditions, like I don't want to show all the records, but I only want to see the records where the record is created by current logged in user. In that case, what it is going to do is it is going to fetch my user details from whatever account I am logged in here. And if I select like created by record, so only those records will be displayed which are created by me. Or else I can also select, since I don't have a lookup to account entity in my request entity. So this option is disabled, but if there is a lookup field available, you can select the account. So let's say there is a request which is associated to an account. So let's say a company A raises a request. So the request is registered by account, but there are 10 different employees who wants to see the details about that specific request. So how the you can say configuration is set, like a user is linked to a specific account and the request is associated to account. So based on that account, we can filter the results here. Apart from that, we can have other filters as well. So something like text filters or attribute filters or lookup set, range set, all these things, if we configure it here, the same will be rendered as a left menu on this page. And I can select a few things. And so something like, let's say based on some option set field, I have different cities or something configured as part of an option set. I can get a filter menu on the left side, and by selecting any of those records, the details can be displayed. So this is like an option again. If I select this, it is going to do the same thing. If I select the record and just going to show me the details. Moving forward, let's see how we can configure the entity properties. So let's say I come here and okay, let's do one other thing before doing that. Let's sort these
Can,
records based on, I'm sorry, please
can
go
I
ahead.
just, sorry, this is Prashant again, and I'm really
No,
interested in portals. That's why I'm asking so many questions.
no,
So,
that's good. Uh-huh.
there are two things on the page you were showing before. One was a
Mhm,
list, and you've already spoken about the footer and how
mhm,
to customize it. And I saw that it's code, and I'm like a low code and no code person. So
mhm,
on the header, you've got this icon,
Mm-hmm.
Control Limited.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I try to put in something there, it just messes up with my header. That's that's one question, and I'm
Okay.
not sure if you want to answer that. Number two is when you were preparing this list and you went back to the model-driven app of Power Apps Portal Management, you were
Mm-hmm.
showing us some conditions, and there are tricks and tips and tricks there to do things better. Now, one of the things where I get stuck most of the time there is that I want to show invoices to my customers where I can
Mm-hmm.
just change the colors of things, saying that this is due soon, this is overdue, or this is pending, something like that, you know, based
Mm-hmm.
on, let's say, status or due date and something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I get stuck. Is there a way which we can adopt to do it without the liquid template or CSS and things like that, just without code, just add a filter for a color?
Okay, so for your first question, if you are trying to change the UI, the logo here, here are
Hmm.
few formatting options. If you want to change these directly from here and still they are not working, you can go here and you can set up some CSS properties in this style tag, and whatever you like select, it is going to render it like that. In one of my applications, it was like it was messing up the footer and making it a little bigger than it should be. So here I added some custom code, and with that customization, it was cleared out. Otherwise, this width is like set to 100%. So we can update this and also set a height. So it is going to be stable and not move according to my, you can say, image size. Does that answer your first question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem. And coming back to the second question, so if you want to show the invoices by, you can say their uh, let's say request date or something, so you can directly create views as part of your entities if that's possible. So here
Hmm.
in views, if I create something like requests in the resolved in the past 3 months or that are not resolved in the past
Hmm.
3 months, I can so instead of selecting the active view here, active
Hmm.
request, you can select if there is a custom view, you can select that, and only those records that are part of that view will be rendered. And again, on those records, if you want to apply some contacts or account kinds of filter for doing that, here you can set the filter conditions for portal attribute, user attribute, and account.
Okay, I understand that. We can provide views, but my question was more about in the same view, when you look at the list and you've got multiple records there, right?
Mhm.
And can we change the color? So you know how you enable the hyperlink in the
Uh-huh.
first column. I was
Uh-huh.
more asking about that. Let's say we're looking at invoices there, right? And my customer
Mhm.
logs in and sees that,
Mhm.
oh my God, I've got an invoice which is overdue. So I can show it in red or something. So are you
Mhm.
moving towards that? That has to be the code thing for sure.
Oh, okay. So I mean, this list view, it is like present out of the box. But if you want to add some kind of icons, like this is like in red or green or blue, you can
Hmm.
add custom code here. So
Okay.
in this edit option,
Hmm.
uh, there is a custom JavaScript code. And if I go to
Okay.
inspect this page, let's say I go and I want to add this, let's not consider it the request ID field, but the field you are trying to um
Okay.
okay. So since this is a anchor tag and I have req underscore 001 here, but if I want, I can add some JavaScript code which changes this as this anchor tag must be having an ID or something. So
Okay.
we can get it from here, request ID. And if
Hmm.
I change the text, so let's say first it is showing me some icon and then this request dash 001, that way it can be achieved, but not direct.
Cool. Got it. It is a code thing.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
No problem. And we have another question. Can we show hide pages, entity forms accepted based on security roles or entity permissions? Yes, we can do that. And I was coming to that only as part of my next demo. So here we are like showing all records where let's say that are assigned to me. No, not assigned to me, with all the records basically. So let's assign some permissions here. I will go into this edit mode. I'll select the list. And now there is an option to enable entity permissions. So let's select that, save it. Now if I browse my website, so now I'm getting there are no records to display because I have assigned like an entity permission here, but the current user, they don't have access to that security thing. So for doing that, we can come here and create an entity permission. So let's say I create a new one, requests access. I'll select my entity, which is requests. The website would be starter portals and the scope would be global. And here I can select what privileges I want to give. So let's say I want to give it only read access for now. I'll just save it. So once the record is saved, you can add the web role. So let's say I want to give access. I'm sorry. Okay.
Hi. Yeah.
So now I'm giving access to administrators as well as authenticated users. Let's start. I'll come here, I'll clear the cache. And now once that is done, okay, so let's come back here, refresh this. Okay, it is taking some time. Let it load because we just cleared out the cache. That is why it is already giving us a warning that we see some temporary slowness. So let this page load. Okay, it is taking more than forever.
Ritika, it would be great if you can share this cache refresh thing with a generic URL with people, because we tend to forget it all the time. Like your portal URL slash whatever you are entering there, because it happens a lot of time when you're in a project, you'll have to Google it. So it would be great if you can share it so that people can just bookmark it or get it on a OneNote thing.
Okay, sure. But I mean, so for this demo purposes only? Yeah, or in general?
In general, people tend to forget,
In
like
in
people like
general,
me, they tend to forget
mhm,
this URL
mhm.
because they they just think, like I asked you a question about saying configuration, right? So I was assuming that that must have replaced this URL, and that's why it is that. But
Mhm.
I'm just saying that it might help people if you can just share the URL, that you have your portal URL slash this thing, and it will clear the cache.
Uh-huh. So that is only accessible by system administrators.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm
Okay,
just
and I
saying
just
for
shared.
people's benefit.
Yeah, I just shared it on the chat.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, I'm still getting this error. Like really quickly. Okay, request access and okay, it is taking some time. Let this page load and we can move forward to the next thing. And then I'll come back and demo this one because otherwise I have a video recorded already, which I can show and we can see this thing. So the next one is like custom, okay, show height pages based on authentication. So right now I'm seeing this demo, show demo request page, even if I'm logged out. So let's set up that really quickly. So for doing that, we can set web page access permissions. I think there is some issue with my internet connection. Okay, so one other thing is like after this session is complete, I'll be sharing you can say a blog about what things I have demoed as part of my session. So I'll just play a video of this thing so that it is taking some time. And if there is any issue, we can talk about any as your questions. So and okay, so height page. So here it's like how you can come and define a web page access control role. I'll give this something a name like show page to authenticated users. I select the website as starter portal and the web page as show list because this is what I was recording while I was doing this demo before our session today. So I assigned that web role. I went in and selected the web roles like authenticated users or my administrators. So I'll just search for those records. Okay, that's done. So now if I come back here, I sign in. So I mean, just now because I was already, the configuration was set, it is not going to show me that. I'll come here, clear the cache, then go back and let's say if I select sign out now. So now if you'll notice that the show list icon, it's gone now. And similarly, it is what I was trying to configure for the new page we just created. But I think there is some, I guess, net issue or something. So I'm not able to see those. But if I logged in again, so as you can see as part of this video, I can see this page, show list. If I log out again, the page is gone. So I hope that was clear. If you have any questions about this one, please let me know.
I just want to give you a compliment that I am amazed that you're so proactive that you have recorded a video for your backup plan, and it's really good. Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for doing that.
Okay, no problem. So let's go back to PowerApps Portals again. I think we just have 10 minutes left, and there is one other thing I want to demo here, custom JavaScript code. So let me open the portal first. So if I open the portal, okay, so let's go to profile page. And here, okay, I have already applied that JavaScript code. So if I just remove it, so by default on profile page, we get 4 different options of like how a person can contact you, how may we contact you, select that, all that apply. So we have all these email, fax, phone, and mail options. But let's say I want to hide this fax option. By default, it is not supported. If you want to hide this section, it will be like fully erased. But if you want only 2 options out of this gone, so the way to do that is go to edit, then select options. You can write your custom JavaScript script code here. So this is a jQuery expression where I am getting this checkbox is like when on this page, I went and looked at the code. So it was like all the checkboxes are under checkbox class. So that is how it's like I have referenced this, go to the third item and set its display to none. If I save this now, so now as I can see, the 2 options are gone. I am just able to see the first and the third option. And regarding the question from Gautam, could you please share those recorded videos? Yes. So after my session today, I'll be releasing a blog. If you want, you can subscribe to agarwalritika.com. And so, I mean, this will be available in like 2 or 3 hours after my session. Just subscribe and you'll get a notification. And I'll be posting all these videos as part of that blog. Okay, it's still stuck. Okay, I think there is some problem with the configuration in the backend, but I have a recorded video for that as well. Let me see. Okay, no, this is not the one. This one. Okay. Configure portal. I'm very bad at renaming things, so I'm sorry, but I'm not finding that video. Oh, page. Okay, so I think I forgot to record just that one, which is not working. I'm sorry, guys, for that. We have a different question. Like list view, can we display documents uploaded by a customer? So if the documents are like uploaded, so when you say uploaded by a customer, will that be done using portals, or are you doing that for the customers? Portal. So something that you are uploading as a portal. So while configuring the entity forms, you can select this entity form metadata, and if you are adding the timeline, you can select like what all do you want to display. There is an option you can enable like upload documents. So let's say I select timeline, since this form does not have a timeline, so I mean I cannot select anything here, but here it gives us some sizes and everything. If I create this record, I can select if I want the user to create records or not. Create. Let's go back to entity forms. View request. Option. There was a setting. Let me just quickly check it. Here, add attach file. So here is a checkbox, attach file. If you select this, then only the user will be able to add the documents, and you can select like what would be the attach file storage location. So you can select note and attachments from here. Does that answer your question, Neeraj?
Can you hear me, Ritika?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so these attachments, does they go to SharePoint if we have the integration in place, or they go to CDS?
Okay, so let me go to one. Here in when you're on make.powerapps.com, select settings, and if you go to administration tab, there is an option for SharePoint integration. I have not tried that out, but you can select those, or else you can create these attachments as part of notes, and they can be shared. You can perform that integration directly there. There is this setup SharePoint integration. So if you want, you can enable this, and the documents, they can be stored there, or else the second thing you can do is configure this directly on your CDS entity.
All right. So this SharePoint integration, so when we click on this learn more and all, it says that SharePoint integration is there's a must step which says Dynamics 365 license is necessary for it. So
Mhm.
if we are going with this Power Portal without D365, like only with CDS, can we still achieve all this integration? Or
So like when you say you're creating the integration in the backend and require this licenses, so the person who is first of all enabling this configuration, it is done by global administrator, and they must have access to the licenses. If you are doing that on the entity level, the person who is creating the record, in this case, I mean, we'll be using the local connection, since we are allowing access for um, you can say outside users, so that is not possible. But for SP integration, uh, it is not allowed without assigning Dynamics 365 licenses to the user. Does that answer your question?
yeah, kind of, yeah. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Any other questions?
Thank you so much, Ritika. This was very good.
Mhm.
Anyone has any question? We have left for 2 minutes.
Not from me, thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
You want to go through your slides deck, Ritika, in the meantime?
Yes, sure. I just forgot that. I'm sorry. So regarding exporting the portal configuration, so you can use CRM configuration manager. This tool, it first import all your schema and whatever is defined as part of this portal management app. It imports that into a zip file, and then using the same tool, you can export that to a target environment. So with that, it's like you are just copying the configuration from one environment to another, but the portal application will not be created directly. So for doing that, you have to create a new portal application. And since everything is there in the portal management app, so let's say if I delete this portal today, my portal, and I have all these entity lists, forms, web pages already in place as part of my portal management application. So they will be automatically, like whenever I create a new app, they will be automatically added. And if I want to remove any of those components, they need to be done like manually from here, like we can hide those pages or remove them, all these things. But if you're migrating something, a portal needs to be created again, but the configuration would be there. And another thing is like you can also use XRM Toolbox. It has like really cool plugins where you can directly duplicate your portal, PowerApps portal from one tenant to other. You can set the file settings and site settings. You can also edit the code in a code editor. And this tool, PowerApps Configuration Compare, it's really cool. I mean, if you have two different tenants where you have portal deployed, but there is some mismatch or you are not able to find it, with that comparer tool, it's like it points out every single point of component that is there, and it is going to like give you the results like this is right, and here you should look and update this configuration, even for the entity permissions as well. So let's say if I have a form here on this one and a different one in the other environment, and there is a single change, like on one the entity permission is enabled and on the other it's not, so it's going to like highlight that once you do the comparison. And for portal configuration deployer, it's does the same thing as what our CRM configuration manager does, is it copies all the components from this source tenant to the destination tenant. So yeah, you can really go and check out these cool tools. They are really helpful when you're trying to debug something.
All right, thank you very much. So it's so good. You covered all the questions. At the end, it's almost the time as well. If you guys can fill out the feedback form,
Mhm.
that would be great.
Yeah, I'll show that link in a minute. So this is my LinkedIn QR code. If you guys want to connect, please feel free to connect. And so if you want some time, I can just hold the this. So okay, let's move now. So this is a survey link. You guys can scan this QR code and provide some feedback based on how you like the session, or do you have any recommendations or suggestions for me? Please do that. And thanks for attending, guys. If you have any questions, you can connect to me anytime on Twitter or on LinkedIn. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, I'll just paste my blog in the chat so that if you want to.
Thank you so much. It was very insightful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
So,
I'm stopping the recording.
Thank you so much, Faraz.